Hey everyone, we're going to take a look at modes in this lesson and get a good sense of the different sounds that they each bring to the table. And in order to really drive this home, the way we'll approach this as we play through all the modes of all the keys is keep the root note the same and do all 7 modes before moving to a new root note. And we're just going to keep moving chromatically up. So we're going to start in the key of C and do C Ionian, but then we're going to move to C Dorian, which is in the key of B flat, C Phrygian, which is in the key of A flat, C Lydian, which is in the key of G, and then C Mixolydian, which is in the key of F, C Aeolian, which is in the key of E flat, and then C Locrian, which is in the key of D flat. So rather than staying in the same key and just going to the next note in the scale, we're going to do it that way so we really hear the different emotional impact it can have just on the listener, and the it can really set the tone for a jam if you decide to go in any one of these routes. And the cool thing is that if you had a situation where your bandmates were vamping on a chord, and especially if it's a neutral chord, like a power chord or something that isn't, necessarily major or minor, then it's up to you as the improviser. You can make it feel a certain way depending on which mode you choose. So for the fingering that I'm going with here, we're going to start with, again, we'll start with the key of C just to launch off into the other ones. And we're going to do middle finger starting point, and that'll go like this. Just 1 octave. And then I'm going to go to C Dorian and kind of be thinking of the key of B flat for that. So I'm going to shift over as if I were playing in the key of B flat, but start with pinky finger on C, and then continue on. Then we'll go to C Phrygian, which is in the key of A flat. And so now I'm thinking of it is I'm starting on the 3rd of A flat and going from there. Then we'll shift the middle finger back down to C and play Lydian, which is just a major scale with a raised 4th. There it is. And then we'll do Mixolydian, which is a major scale with a flat 7. There that is. And then we're going to go to Aeolian, which is it's like the Dorian that we did for the 2nd scale, except it has a minor 6 instead of a major 6. And the fingering I'm going to go with is pointer finger on 8th fret. Minor 6 there, back. And then finally for Locrian, I'm going to just pretend like I'm already getting ready for D flat. Well, not pretending because we actually are. We just play a D flat major scale, but start with the semitone below D flat, which is a C. And then we go like this. And that'll get us into the new key. And then we're just going to keep going like that. So I just wanted to give a little overview. Next, we're just going to go right through it and play to the track. All right, congrats if you made it all the way through that. So I just have a couple closing ideas. If you want to kind of switch that up and practice it in different ways, you could do different fingerings for the major scale in all kinds of different ways. So what I would say is try to find as many different ways to play those scales as you or modes as you possibly can. And then if you get it down at the tempo that I just did it at, just increase it a little bit. If you're watching on YouTube, you can always do the little gear thing and do like you can make it faster. You on the other hand, if you need it slower, you can do that too. You can do 75% or so on. So yeah, you could try different fingerings, different tempos for it, and also do it on different strings. So we just were doing same starting string. You could do it starting on the A string. You could do it starting on the D string. So on. That way you know it in as many different ways as you possibly can. And I hope that having the sound of the backing track was helpful just to get, if anything, just to kind of get you used to and to train your ear to recognize the sound of a Lydian chord versus a mixed Lydian type chord, or just a major chord versus a Dorian chord that maybe has the major six in it. And those kinds of differences. It's a good ear training thing too. So that if somebody that you're jamming with or just playing with in general, if they play a certain chord, you'll know the appropriate mode to apply to that. Even if there's a key change and you weren't aware of what the key change would be, you could just hear the sound of that and go, okay, that's a sharp 4 or whatever the case is, and then you would know to play the appropriate mode. So yeah, I hope that this is helpful as always. Let me know if you need any extra help with anything, if anything didn't make sense, or if you have different ideas of how you might practice this or do that. Leave a comment. It's always helpful for other people that are trying to find answers to see how different people approach it. So cool. I'll leave it at that and see you soon. Thanks so much.